Get your reactions ready. The live portion of the show will begin in just a moment.
LeMahieu drives that to right field, down the line, that is gone! Torres now puts a charge into that, into center field. Tavares looking up, that is long gone!
Today is April 27th, and the Yankees are deep in the heart of Texas to take on the Texas Rangers at the site of home run number 62. My recap and your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Hey guys, just a reminder that Game Time is the sponsor for this episode, and with the code NYY Recaps, you can get $20 off of your first ticket purchase. This is a fantastic app to get last-minute tickets. It's the lowest price on last-minute tickets, guaranteed. You download the app, you punch in my code, you get $20 off, and you can go see hockey, basketball, concerts, yes, baseball. Not only Major League Baseball, but minor league baseball. There's concerts, there's comedians, everything that you can think of, Game Time has it on their app. So download the app today and use my code NYY Recaps. It will help out the channel. And by the way, I used it myself. It worked fantastically. It worked as advertised. Game Time, last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And now, on with the show. Welcome back, everybody. I will not beat around the bush tonight. We have good news and bad news. Good news is that the Yankees won their second game in a row. Bad news is Aaron Judge is hurt. So if you missed the game, Judge had to leave tonight, and it was not because of the hand. It was with hip discomfort. We all thought it was going to be the hand because of the slide yesterday and because he was shaking his hand after he struck out tonight. But we found out later in the game that it's a hip issue. And hips can be a bad problem. They can linger. I've had a hip flexor injury before, and it hurts. It's no fun. What sucks is that he was just getting hot again. 3 hits yesterday, and now probably going to be out anywhere from at least a couple of days to, I don't know, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. I guess we'll find out. But I'm going to be over here hyperventilating. I don't have a lot of confidence in the Yankees doctors to diagnose whatever is the issue. Now, it's possible, when he dove in yesterday, he just came down hard on the hip and he has a little bit of a bruise or whatever, and it was barking. But it's also possible he tweaked something. And the Yankees doctors are incompetent, so I have very little faith that they will figure out what's wrong. Robert says, we all know it's Judge's hand, not his hip. And I saw somebody else comment, what if I told you that both your hand and your hip can hurt at the same time? It's a thing. People have nerves in both areas. It's possible that his hand does hurt, but it's also possible that the hip is an issue. So tonight was one of those nights where the pitching matchup was squarely in the Yankees' favor. Garrett Cole's been dominant. Andrew Heaney, he was a Yankee for about 5 minutes and got absolutely clobbered. He should be in whatever the opposite of Monument Park is. Like, I don't know, like a janitorial closet with like pictures on the wall with darts in them. Awful as a Yankee. But the Yankees have been having trouble with ex-Yankees lately. We saw Sonny Gray absolutely dominate the Yankees in Minnesota. And if Sonny Gray beats you, you don't like it, but you can understand it because a good pitcher can have a great night. If Joey Gallo beats you, it's like, all right, he's going to run into one once in a while. But if Andrew Heaney beats you, you officially confirm that we live in a simulation and that there's a broken piece of code somewhere. So for now, the universe maintains its structural integrity. And for the second night in a row, the Yankees put in enough offense to get the job done, although much less this time. They're like, I don't know, like a python that eats a goat and then doesn't eat again for 3 days. It's like you get it all at once. You come out of the gate today with back-to-back home runs and then do nothing. It reminds me of like a polar bear that'll eat a bunch of delicious baby seals, just slay a bunch of delicious baby seals, and then won't eat for a whole winter. Just hibernate. That's what the Yankees offense is like. Yesterday, they crushed a bunch of baby seals, and today they hibernated most of the game, but they got it done. Also, is it just me, or is the Texas broadcast camera the worst camera in the league? Quick question for the Texas Rangers organization. Is it possible to get a center field camera that's a little bit further away from home plate? Could we possibly make the hitter any smaller on the screen? Is there a tree outside the stadium where you could put the camera? Maybe a building across the street? It didn't quite feel like we were watching from the Goodyear blimp. Come on, Texas. Let's find the zoom lens. Real bad umpiring again tonight. That's been a story all season. The umpiring has just been trash across Major League Baseball all year. Got to get the human element out of the game, man. I know people love the human element, but for balls and strikes, at least institute a challenge system. There was a walk, should have been a walk with the bases loaded to Anthony Rizzo. Ball missed the strike zone by about 8 inches, and he rung him up. It was a breaking ball breaking down, completely missed the zone, and he rung him up. Are you kidding me with this? The Wolf of Cards says, camera was crazy. Crazy bad. Yankees did get on the board in the first. They got on the board first. It was actually the second inning, I believe. 3 runs in the second. DJ got robbed of a home run yesterday. Today, opposite field shot. His, I want to say, 3rd home run of the year. Nice job from DJ. Next batter was Gleyber Torres. And he did go deep yesterday, and it was a shot. And today he hit another mammoth home run off the batter's eye in center field. 4th home run of the season for him. I got to say, I love home runs. But it's frustrating that almost every home run that the Yankees hit is a solo shot. There's a reason the old cliche isn't pitching, defense, and solo home runs. It's 3-run home runs. You got to hit them when you got people on base. Later in the inning, Anthony Volpe ripped a base hit to drive in a run. He had a good night. He's heating up. They said over the last 14 games, he was hitting something like 292 with an on-base percentage over 400. And what's interesting is that sometimes he'll be very, very selective at the plate, and sometimes he'll just be straight up aggressive all night, like swing at the first pitch. Tonight was an aggressive night, and he went 1 for 4, struck out 1 time, but drove in a run. Got the OPS over 700, so not too bad. The other kid, Jordan Walker maybe, that made the Cards out of spring training, got sent down. So Volpe's at least sticking around, and he's performing. So good job from him. Bottom of the 3rd, there was a line drive to left field, and it basically hit Aaron Hicks in the face. He had trouble with the lights. I get it, but you got to make that play. He continues to be beyond abysmal in the field.
We spend $250 billion a year on defense.
And Garrett Cole was visibly unhappy with Hicks on that play. And that's something you typically don't see from Garrett Cole. He's generally a very good teammate. And he was just uncomfortable with the fact that Hicks didn't catch that baseball. And you could see it off Twitter. People just couldn't take it. They just he just continues to have a bad night every time that you put him out there. Cole was done after 6 2/3 innings. Final line, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. He did have a really nice scoreless streak of 26 2/3 innings, but that was snapped tonight. But still a fantastic job. Garrett Cole picks up his 5th win of the year. Mike King did a really nice job in relief to close it out. Also, Oswald Peraza made a phenomenal defensive play at third base. Good to see him getting more comfortable out there. He never really played third base before the season. I could have swore he played over there last year, but I guess he didn't. But I would like to see him get going with the bat. He almost hit the ball out of the ballpark late in the game. He was my pick to go deep tonight because this is where he hit his first career home run. And I just felt like he had it in him. He almost did it in the 9th inning, but came up just short. But the Yankees hang on to win the opener.
Ball game over. Yankees win.
Forgot to mention Trevino went deep in the ninth. Big insurance run. Eric C. says Peraza for third base long term. That could be what happens. I think he looks good over there. And Torres, Joe Man says, how did Torres do in his other at-bats? Was he swinging out of his shoes? He was swinging out of his shoes, but, you know, at least he got one tonight. So I mentioned during the celebration music that Trevino went deep in the ninth. He had a really good day, 3 for 4. Hit the ball hard. This was his former team. So he got a little bit of revenge for the trade, although I think if you asked him, he'd preferred his situation now. Belt winner tonight goes to Mr. Jose Trevino. Belt winner. Parks and Young says Hicks needs to go on the injured list with a phantom injury. I don't know, man. I think he needs to go out of Major League Baseball. The Yankees are probably going to DFA him when Harrison Bader comes back. You have to think that he's the guy most likely. Franchi Cordero hasn't played much the last couple of days, or at least hasn't done anything. Calhoun had back-to-back 2-hit games, and he's a left-handed hitter, so I don't think they're going to get rid of him or send him down. Bader coming back fills center field. That pushes the need for Aaron Hicks even further to the side because you have now IKF who's played a lot of center field. Oswaldo Cabrera can play left field. Calhoun can probably play left field. Franchi can play left field. I just don't see a role for him. And at $10 million a year, you don't like to just eat that if you're Hal Steinbrenner, but sometimes you just gotta eat it. I feel like that's going in the out of context reel from Frankie Baseball. Patrick Spencer says, man, I love winning. It's like a lot better than losing. Got that right. I want to know how you guys feel about Aaron Judge's injury. If you feel like it's something that is serious. I didn't see much out of the hip, but I was thinking about that slide yesterday, and I mean, that's a lot of weight going down on one side of your body. He kind of landed on his right side a little bit, landed awkwardly, and wouldn't surprise me if he's just a little banged up. I hope that it's nothing serious. I hope he doesn't have like a pulled hip flexor or something like that. So, Kian Patel says, Jose. Jonathan Alvarez says Hicks needs to go, period. Hicks was 1 for 3 tonight, so he picked up a base hit. He's hitting 147. The OPS, though, is 384, only higher than IKF. IKF has a 380 on base percentage. She was 0 for 4 tonight. They're both just not great offensively, and at least IKF once in a while seems like he makes contact. I just don't feel like Hicks has competitive at-bats. Brett thinks Franchi's going to be starting tomorrow with the righty pitching. We do have a pretty bad pitching matchup coming up with Jacob deGrom versus Clark Schmidt. That's one of those games where you would pray for rain, but there's a fucking dome, unfortunately. So Joseph Torres says deGrom versus Schmidt should be an easy win for the Yankees. I don't know about that one, buddy. Joe says 147. Look out. Platt says, make a shirt with Hicks's average. I would have to change it to keep lowering the numbers daily. I just don't have that kind of time. Maybe when he finishes and gets released, we'll make something. Right now, we do have a shirt that says anyone but Hicks. I remember there were T-shirts that said anyone but Farnsworth, back when Farnsworth was on the Yankees. Kyle Farnsworth, some of you, I'm sure, remember him. Joe Mann, with a great point, says, Garrett Cole, no home runs allowed so far this season. That's huge. He's keeping the ball in the ballpark. There was a situation tonight where he had the bases loaded, nobody out. Adolis Garcia coming up, and I was thinking last year this would have been a grand slam. This year, got the strikeout and then got a double play ball, botched the double play. If he made the play on the back end, it probably would have kept his night scoreless, and the streak would still be going. So let's take a look at the box score. You see, Volpe 1 for 4 with the ribby, hitting .229, slowly climbing up. Judge 0 for 2 before exiting the game, couple of strikeouts. Cabrera 0 for 2. Rizzo 1 for 4. LeMahieu 1 for 4 with a ribby. Torres 1 for 4 with the home run. So LeMahieu and Torres back-to-back dingers. Their only hits, their only RBIs, and their only runs scored. Peraza 0 for 2 with a run scored, hitting .143, .476 OPS. Not what you want. He's got to get going with the bat. Kiner Falefa, we just mentioned, 0 for 4. Trevino, 3 for 4 tonight, hitting .250 with a .669 OPS. And Aaron Hicks, 1 for 3. One of his final games as a Yankee, I'm sure. Garrett Cole, 6 2/3. His ERA is a picket fence, 1.11. And Mike King, 2 1/3 scoreless innings, no hits, just 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Look at his numbers. They're really rounding into form. These are Mike King numbers from last year. I still don't see the stuff that we saw last year, but he's still getting results, so that tells you something's up. 1.72 ERA, 1.15 WHIP. So looking good for Mike King. Raleigh says a blind squirrel with 3 legs can find a nut. Since Hicks got a hit, cheap blooper, by the way.
Absolutely.
Hey. It happens. Speaking of it happens, Eric C says miracles happen. Tomorrow may not be as bad as it seems. I'm assuming he left a word off there. The one thing that might factor in is DeGrom has had his own injury history over his career, right? There's a solid chance that any time out he could exit in the 3rd or 4th inning with, forearm stiffness or wrist tightness. We've talked about that a lot on this show, that there are certain people that push the boundaries physically of what's humanly possible. And those are the elite athletes. But the problem is the human body, it doesn't allow for very much variance, right? Very much deviation from the norm. So when you do those almost superhuman level activities, it can cause injuries. That's why some of the best athletes that you'll ever see are people who get injured all the time, So I think he's one of those guys. I think his, throwing is an unnatural motion, and he does it as violently as anybody in the business. Consistently throws over 100 miles an hour. And so you figure that it's just going to be extremely stressful on every piece of his arm and probably every piece of his body, although he seems to have more arm trouble than anything else. But you never know. One hanging slider, and you can win. Ray Rard says Pavano wasn't as bad. He was just never on the field to be bad. That's a good point. I mean, Pavano, when he pitched that first year, wasn't bad. 2007, he got off to a decent start, but kind of, slowed down a little bit. Hey, we got a big dono from Louis Penn here. Says, one of the game commentators that said that Peraza needs to be more consistent with his at-bats. How can he be more consistent when Boone doesn't send him out there every game? Keep sending him out along with Cabrera. Wholeheartedly agree.
Absolutely. Hey.
I do like his swing, and he does hit the ball hard, and he's hit some hard shots at third base. He seems like one of these guys who might not have the kind of launch angle that is going to do a ton of damage. He's going to have to, find holes. He hits line drives. That's a good thing in my opinion. He's going to have to use right field more. You see him hooking pitches that are on the outside part of the plate and pulling them. That's not ideal. You want to take those pitches and drive them with authority to right field. Now, it sounds a lot easier when I just say it. Just drive them to right field. It's really hard because you build your swing in a certain way. And he probably has never had to do that before. He's been able to get by with pulling the ball a lot. But as you go to higher and higher levels, you have to pick up newer skills. And, it's just something that he's going to have to learn to do if he's going to have success, especially at Yankee Stadium. If you can drive the ball to right field at Yankee Stadium, you can make a pretty good living. And, what most coaches will tell you is you just have to wait and recognize the pitch that it's going to be outside. Just wait a fraction of a second longer and take your normal swing because you're hitting the ball deeper in the zone. right? You don't have to step towards the other side of the plate or do anything different with your swing at all. Just a fraction of a second later. When you're a kid and your coach is, yelling at you because you're hitting balls to right field and they're saying, you're swinging late. You're actually doing a good thing. You're letting the ball travel a little bit longer, giving yourself an extra fraction of a second to see it and then hitting it. And that's something that, it only comes with experience and with practice. And hopefully at the major league level, they'll have drills to work on that. I was watching MLB Tonight or MLB This Morning, one of those MLB Network shows today. And they were showing Juan Soto trying to get back in the habit of driving the ball the other way. Juan Soto's having a bad year. And he didn't have a great year last year either. And what they've figured out is that he's not hitting the ball the other way. And so he's out there consistently working on that. One of the reasons Jeter was so great is he would hit the ball the other way. It's very important to use the whole field as a hitter. And any good hitter will tell you that. It's something that Paul O'Neill preaches all the time. We preach all the time on this channel. Got to use the whole field. Sorry for that whole field rant. Brett Deutsch says, Rangers' best hitters are right-handed. Clark Schmidt needs to shove. That sounds good to me.
Oh, there goes gravity.
That was the wrong button. Parkson says Peraza should be playing every day, just like Anthony Volpe. Peraza isn't being treated the same. Yeah, part of it is Volpe won a job, right? He won the everyday shortstop job. Peraza right now is filling in. So he can fill in at short, he can fill in at second, he can fill in at third. He can fill in at short, he just hasn't yet. Wouldn't shock me if he does at some point. But to me, he's somebody who has to remain on the roster even when Bader comes back. To me, you're watching Aaron Hicks right there take a ball off the face. What the Yankees would traditionally do that would be a bad move is when Bader comes back, they would send Peraza down. And if they do that, I'm going to rant. I'm going to be livid because this kid has earned a chance to play. He has nothing left to prove at AAA. And Hicks isn't going to get you any wins. Peraza might actually get better. He's on the ascent skill-wise. Hicks is clearly on the decline.
Game over, man. It's game over.
I gotta get out of here.
And Siddharth says Volpe took some time to heat up. Give Peraza 15 straight games and then make judgments. And I 100% agree.
You gotta go.
Joe Man says, if Judge is out, what is your preferred lineup? I haven't thought about it, and I can't do that. I have to write, my thoughts, I can't, project a lineup in my head and visualize it. I have to write it down. But my guess is you'll see Oswaldo Cabrera in right field because he's a better defensive right fielder than anybody else they've got. He's got a great arm. And then you'll go with either Hicks in left, unfortunately, or maybe Franchi Cordero with a righty on the mound. Jonathan Alvarez says Dominguez is better than Hicks now. So tomorrow I'll be talking with Julian from Dugout Station. You know him. He's a MILB reporter for the Somerset Patriots. And we're going to be talking about the AA lineup for the Yankees. They got some hitters. Dominguez hit a triple tonight. I didn't see what he finished his night with, but he's been heating up a little bit lately. He got off to a very slow start, 3 for 39, but a couple of hits the other night, including a home run and a double, and now a triple tonight. He's always been a slow starter, so hopefully he's turning it around. Would not shock me to see him in left field by the end of the season if he gets hot. He's a switch hitter. He's got power. The Yankees love it. So, all right, guys, we're going to call it a night. We'll be back tomorrow. Yankees will try and pull off the upset. Let's pray for Aaron Judge. I'll see you next time.
Hey, everybody. If you've made it this far, we thank you. If you'd like to support NYY Recaps, please like and subscribe or pay a visit to our Shopify store for some great Yankees merch.
Yes.
If you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the description. But if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, just visit NYYRecaps.shop. If you really want to support NYY Recaps and help keep the show going year after year, join up as a member. It's $5, and members get their names up in lights during each post-game show. We're also on all podcast platforms, Instagram, and Twitch this year. So give us a follow if you use any of those platforms. We're expanding, and we have you to thank for making this such a great community. We'll see you next time.
It is your destiny.
Case closed.
Ball game over.
Most impressive.